been an exciting morning. I'm not going to risk a bunch of talking here because I've had birds in the area. I've heard a lot of gobbling, all kinds of gobbling off the roost, on the roost. I had a nice bird, probably 60, 70 yards southwest of me. Never couldn't get him to commit, but he was strutting. That was cool. I would have liked to have been able to get some footage of that, but it just wasn't going to happen. This is my first hunt of the season, so I'd say it's been pretty productive. Well, after that loud bang there, I don't think there's any point in me waiting until I get back to the truck to tell you what happened. I scared those two birds right off the property, I'm quite certain. Interesting though, they didn't really seem to be all that spooked. Probably because that one that I shot at didn't even fill my pattern. I cannot believe myself sometimes. This is a good time to bring something up for beginners as well as guys like me who've been doing this for years who ought to know better. I paced that off in my big deer hunting boots here through this kind of wet ground and whatnot, and you know, I don't care how good of a shotgun you got or your choke tube and your loads you're shooting, you don't need to be taking no 100-yard shot. That's stupid. I just got excited. Quite honestly, I haven't had this much activity turkey hunting in a long time. I'm talking probably several years. So I just jumped the gun, and I'm being straight up about it. I'm not going to try to cover it up. Try to be real about everything on this channel. Went down there and found the area where in a secluded little water hole down in there where I believe that the bird had crossed, because I could see some pretty recent tracks probably made this morning because he was heading that direction. And just like I've been straight up with you guys about my other missed shots and stuff in the past. Oh man, kicking myself here. I told myself when I put this blind up that I wasn't gonna shoot past this pond dam here, maybe a little bit more, and that was about 40 yards. I guarantee you I doubled that easy. I'm sure more. It was hard for me to tell exactly where that bird was down there when I paced it off, but you know, I'm taking video with this little Kodak place board. It only has a 4-power zoom. Almost got myself a camera recently that had a good zoom on it, but I decided to get this blind instead. It's a good blind. Say one thing to keep in mind though, when you hunt out of a blind, you pull that trigger on those turkey loads, your ears are going to let you know about it. I was shooting number 3s there, Winchester Supremes. Silly. What else can I tell you here? I checked, I didn't have any feathers, anything, no sign at all that I'd actually made a connection. Can you imagine how big that pattern would be at that point? Probably just blew right over it. Well, like I say, this is my first time this spring turkey season. We're going to call it New Year Beginner's Luck. No, stupid. Some of you can laugh at me. Some of you who have never turkey hunted probably ought to consider not commenting at all. It's pretty exciting, and when you get a bird like that, you know, you gotta get them closer. I'm in a good travel area. I should have just waited. It looked like they were going to be easing off to the east, and they weren't liking my calls for some reason. Thought I was calling soft enough. It sounds louder than it actually is, and you know, when we're inside the blind. Thought I saw something red there for a second, but I guess not. Probably in my dreams, huh? I'll tell you what though, I got in the blind before the sun came up, and I tell you, it was a nice, very, you know, no wind morning. It was, you know, overcast. All kinds of gobbling in the area where I expected it to be. I know they roost down in there. I got my Bushnell trophy cam up down in there, and it's what we've been referring to as the beehive. I've got another name for it too that the owner and I like to call it, and I'm not going to use that term right here, but I know you're watching, so you know the name of the spot I'm talking about. So man. Oh boy. Tell you what, if I could put a bridle on myself sometimes, man. I feel like this is a good spot though. I really do. I've got a lot of video footage last year when I was deer hunting. I've seen them come through here a lot. Of course, their patterns are different in the spring than they are the fall. But I don't know if you can see or not. We're going to have to see on the footage here when I look at it. But that was two. I don't know whether they were jakes or you know, with that 4-power zoom, it was really hard for me to tell. But I was looking with my. They're not really super expensive, but they're Bushnell. What do we got here? We got 16 by 50s, and I was seeing down there pretty good. Have to hold my breath when I look through them though. So they were inexpensive. I think I probably got them at Walmart, but you know, I don't really buy super expensive gear. And I saw them ease up from that creek bottom down in there. But it was cool. It was great to be out. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Give it some more thought. Hopefully you guys are making connections with them out there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I can tell you. I already mentioned this, but there's a pond over here to the west of my blind, and I don't know, distance wise, let's see here, there was probably, I'd say probably maybe 70 yards, something like that. I actually did call in I think it was a gobbler. I don't know, again, whether it was hard for me to tell. I've got a cedar that I'm kind of boxed in here against, and it was kind of hard for me to tell because I didn't whip out these guys here, but with my eye I didn't see a rope dragging on the ground, so I don't think it was a big one. But I would have been happy with a subordinate bird. The first bird that I ever shot was 2.5 years old. I shot it out at Hillsdale Wildlife Area in Kansas. First day I ever went out turkey hunting. And man, that was beginner's luck. I'll tell you the quick story on that. It was about a 9 o'clock bird, so you can kind of imagine that without me going into textbook there. But this bird called me, and it was up on a strut zone, and I was way below it, and it was going back and forth, and it wouldn't answer my diaphragm call that I had in my mouth. I kept yelping at it, but whenever I hit that crow call, man, it just went nuts. So I made a connection on it. I'd say it was probably 12 to 15 yard shot. I mean, I was close, and it was above me, and so I plowed it up on the strut zone area. And see here, we have is a 20-pound bird, and the spurs were 1 inch, and it's about a 7.5 inch beard. I've got some stuff up on the channel about that bird. So anyway, I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm just kind of going on and on here, but like I say, I hope you guys are making connections, and until next time, and hopefully maybe next time for me will be this next weekend. Happy hunting to you.